saya jurnalis tribunpapua.com Raymond Latumaina. Saat ini saya sedang berada di kampung
Hello, good afternoon Tribuners. Welcome back with me Butiara in Indonesian News of Tribun Lampung. We will present you an updating and interesting information from every place in Indonesia. And here the complete news. The first news is euphoria of the 2022 World Cup in Papua. The colors of the 2022 World Cup adorn the land of Papua. The flags of various countries participating in the Qatar World Cup 2022 adorn the eastern tip of Indonesia. The face of football players are also plastered in the corners of the city. The Papuan people seem to be looking forward to the biggest football party on planet Earth, the 2022 World Cup. In this land, football is very attached to society. Not a few names born in the land of the Cendrawasih were included in the Indonesian national team squad, not only in football but also in futsal, which incidentally is the indoor version of football. Ahead of the 2022 World Cup, the people of Papua held a convoy action by waving the flag of the country they support, as happened in Manokwari in the last few days ahead of the opening of the 2022 World Cup. Quoted from Kompas Regional, the region of Manokwari, Hermus Indo did not forbid his citizens from being euphoric by holding a parade around the city. However, he reminded that every fan of the football team must maintain safety, especially during the parade. While quoted from the Papua Tribune, other regions also participated in celebrating the 2022 World Cup. Based on the monitoring of tribunpapua.com in the Abe Pura district, Jayapura City, on Wednesday, 9 November 2022, residents were observed going back and forth shopping for flags for the Qatar World Cup 2022. The next news is comedian Sule was reported by the police. Comedian Sule was reported to the police for alleged blasphemy and the Electronic Information and Transaction Law. Sule was reported to the Metro Jaya Regional Police by Syahrul Rizal, a representative of the Alliance of Community Lovers of the Probate, on Wednesday, November 23, 2022. Apart from Sule, other names have been reported in connection with the blasphemy case and the Electronic Information and Transaction Law, namely Sundanese humanist Budi Dalton and Kang Sawi or Sasongko Wijaneko. The reporting party requested that the three of them immediately make a public apology. As is known, Sule, Mang Saswi, and Budi Dalton were reported for alleged blasphemy cases and the Electronic Information and Transaction Law. Budi Dalton is considered to have blasphemed religion when he stated that alcohol is the drink of the Prophet Muhammad. Then Sule and Mang Saswi were also reported because they also felt that they had explained this and did not rebuke Budi Dalton. The next news is the overturned dump truck in Timika resulted in the death of 5 passengers. A fatal accident, an overturned dump truck on street Transnabire, Timika Regency, Central Papua Province, still leaves deep sorrow. As a result of this incident, 5 truck passengers died and 20 others were injured and received medical treatment at the Mitra Masyarakat Hospital in Timika. Dozens of people who boarded the ill-fated dump truck were residents living in the vicinity of the PAL company who were about to go down to Timika City. Based on data compiled by tribunpapua.com, Two of the victims died at the scene of the incident and the other three, when they were rushed to the Mitra Masyarakat Hospital, had just breathed their last. Nus Magai, one of the victims, suffered injuries to his hands and back as a result of saying that the truck they were traveling in was traveling at very high speed. Nus said that he and dozens of other people were going to Timika City to attend an event at SP2. Until now, the 5 bodies are still buried at the Mitra Masyarakat Hospital, where the community demands that someone be held responsible for the incident. In the case of the fatal accident, the community fully surrendered it to the Timika Resort Police. The next news is a group of residents experiences a deadly bus accident in Wonogiri. A fatal accident befell a group of baby scouts in Wonogiri. The bus they were traveling on had an accident in Kapukulon Hamlet, Bumi Harjo Ngunturono, Wonogiri on Monday, the 21st of November 2022 night. The unfortunate incident of the group looking at the baby occurred at around 6:30 p.m. Of the 36 passengers on the bus, 6 of them were reportedly killed. However, further information stated that the death toll had increased to 8 people. The bus to see the baby fell into a ravine after failing to climb the incline in Bumi Harjo village, Nguntoro Nadi, Wonogiri. Iqbal said that the single accident was experienced by a KASU Pancatunggal bus with the number AD 1684 BG Plus. The vehicle carrying dozens of passengers drove from west to east. Arriving at location with uphill road condition, the bus was unable to complete the inclined route, so it rolled backwards. Getting information about the fatal accident, police officer immediately went to the location and immediately conducted a crime scene investigation. Meanwhile, the victim were rushed to the Hermina Hospital and the Wonogiri Regional General Hospital. Meanwhile, reported by TribunSolo.com, head of Nguntoro Nadi Sub-District and Drijo Raharjo told TribunSolo.com, said that the group of victims who had accident come from Bendungan Hamlet, Kulu Rejo Village, Nguntoro Nadi District. According to him, there were about 40 people on board. The next news is the ship sank, one captain was found dead. The Water and Air Police unit for the West Kutai Resort Police, together with a team from the West Kutai Regional Disaster Management Agency, succeeded in evacuating one of the skipper of Tugboat Bahar 79, who sank in the waters of the Mahakam River, West Kutai Regency, East Kalimantan on Sunday, the 20th of November 2022. The captain is known as Noldi. He was evacuated by officer in that condition after being trapped in the ship's wheelhouse. Head of Disaster Management Agency for the West Kutai Regional Disaster Management Agency, Saldes Limbong, said that there were 2 victims trapped in a tugboat and only 1 person had been found. Saldas said that after being successfully evacuated, Noldi's body was immediately taken to the Harapan Insan Senwar General Hospital for cremation. Meanwhile, another victim who has not been found is known as Ferdi, who is the captain of the ship. West Kutai Resort Police Chief Police Grand Commissioner Adjutant Harry Rushaman said that the tugboat, which was known to be transporting palm kernels, allegedly sank due to a leaky hull. The evacuation process experiences difficulties because almost the entire hull of the ship had been filled with water, and the muddy condition of the lips and also added to the difficulties of the evacuation team in the field. So that the head of the resort police said the only way to save the victim was to make a hole in the ship hull. The next news is dozens of children in Banten are victims of immoral acts by barbers. The Banten Province National Commission for Child Protection spoke out about cases of sexual abuse that were experienced by dozens of children in Cikande, Serang Regency. To note, the perpetrator of sexual abuse of dozen children in Cikande, Serang Regency was a barber with the initial TA. The chairman of the Banten Province National Commission for Children, Henry Gunawan, said that in this case, the perpetrator had diminished the victim's dignity. On that basis, said Henry, the Banten Province National Child Protection Commission urged and supported the Serang Resort Police. Besides that, because this case, he said, was an extraordinary incident, as for its application, he continued, the perpetrator could be subject to additional punishment in the form of announcing the identity of the perpetrator, then coupled with action in the form of rehabilitation and even the installation of electronic detection device. Then Henry said in carrying out his immoral acts, the perpetrator always used persuasion and seduction by giving money and candy to the victim. So for that, Henry believes that there needs to be understanding and provision from parents. Then regarding this incident, Henry said that in the near future, the Serang Regency Children's National Commission will provide psychological assistance to child victims. According to him, in some cases, the nature of sexual deviation. Children who become victims if they do not get psychological assistance, so in the future, he said, there is a tendency to do the same thing by being the perpetrator to other children. Henry insisted that the victims would experience a traumatic period that would affect their character in the future. The last news is the construction of the Ulem Bridge in East Lombok requires fund of 2 billion rupiah. The estimated budget for the Ulem Bridge in Tete Batu Village, Sikur District, East Lombok is up to 2 billion rupiah. This need was confirmed by the East Lombok Regional Disaster Management Agency after careful calculations. This was conveyed by the executive head of the East Lombok Regional Disaster Management Agency, Lalu Mulyadi, when met by tribunlombok.com on Tuesday, the 22nd of November 2022. He further explained it from limited budget of Lombok Regional Disaster Management Agency, where the Regional Disaster Management Agency will try to build cooperation, especially with the village, self-help, mutual cooperation, and so on. The mechanism itself will be a third party, and work that is not at risk will take precedence. Regarding budget constraints, the East Lombok Regional Disaster Management Agency has communicated with the National Disaster Management Agency. This is done to fully convey how disaster management is in East Lombok Regency. For now, the Regional Disaster Management Agency is trying to follow up on what steps to take. Calculation after calculation continue to be considered so that the burden of the second regional budget can later be assisted by the National Disaster Management Agency. In addition, Mulyadi emphasizes that the National Disaster Management Agency itself has committed to completing large-scale work. An example is the Ulem Bridge, which estimated that the Regional Disaster Management Agency itself will cost 2 billion rupiah. Regarding the possibility of an additional budget, the Regional Disaster Management Agency itself is not fully known. Well, I think that's all the news for today with me, Mutiara. Don't forget to follow us in YouTube Tribun Lampung News Video, Facebook Tribun Lampung, Instagram, and TikTok account of Tribun Lampung for further information. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.